Have you guys ever deleted something without having a backup? This past weekend, I accidentally nuked all my VM storage volumes and templates. What you guys may not know is that I don't have everything memorized. I actually write a script for each video and I refer back to those when I can't remember how to do something. This past weekend, I went to reset up my Windows 11 VM using the method that I used in the video that I made previously earlier this year, and it was not working. Which honestly, when it comes to anything Windows 11 oriented, it does not surprise me. That's when I remembered though that I discovered an easier method, but I wanted to show that method because that's the method in that video because that's the one that most people are probably going to be using if they're in some type of professional environment or anything like that. But honestly, you could still do this in that environment if you really wanted to. And I want to show you that today. This is B from Tay Talk Tech, and today I'm going to show you the easy way to create a Windows 11 virtual machine with KVM. So stick with me. I have a favor to ask. If you like this type of video and want to see more content like it, make sure you are subscribed and hit the bell button for notifications. Also, don't forget to give this video a like if you like it. Let me know what you liked, didn't like, or if you have any comments, questions, concerns, or emotional outbursts down in the comment section below. And lastly, make sure you stick around all the way to the end to get the most out of this video. Let's do this thing. But one thing before we get started, Tessie sighting. She's there. So just in case anybody's wondering. She's going to be chilling, probably sleeping in the entire video. But yeah, today we're going to be doing a few different things before we actually start installing the virtual machine. So let me just make sure that I've got everything here organized on my systems here. I usually do this before. One additional thing. Just doing a couple things here. Give me just a second. Perfect. All right. Okay, so let me go ahead and shrink my face down. First thing that we're going to start off doing is doing a couple of downloads of some files. All right, so let me shrink this down. There we go. Okay, so there's some drivers that we're going to need in order to be able to go ahead and work with Windows 11, and that is going to be these Virtualization Win drivers. Now, there's two different versions of these drivers. There's going to be the Debian as well as the RPM ones, and the ones that you're going to use is going to depend on which version of Linux that you're using. So I actually recently, since I lost all the VMs, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and update my server to Debian. So now my server is running Debian 12. So the ones that I'm going to be using are going to be these ones right here. If you're using RPM, Red Hat, you're going to be using these drivers. And I'm going to go ahead and put this link and the links that I used today down in the show notes below. So reference there if you need the links. So all right, so we've got those drivers. It's going to help us, just utilize all the features that we can with the VM for Windows 11. Now, the next thing that we're going to need to do is go and download a Windows 11 ISO. And actually, you know what? These I've actually already got on the server, so we don't need to worry about downloading these, because these you'll actually download to your Windows server. And I'm actually on a Windows VM right now because we're actually going to start with the Windows VM. I'm sorry, using Windows to actually create what we're going to be doing. So, and I'll get to that here in a minute. The next thing that we're going to do is, again, download Windows 11. So we want just the ISO. We don't care about the media creation tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here to where it says download Windows 11 disk image. Then you'll just select the version. Then you'll select download now. And then what it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and have you put in the language. We're going to go ahead and confirm that. And then it's going to give you this link. So then what you'll do is you'll click that and you'll let it download. That is going to take a little bit of time. So what I will do is I'm going to go ahead and continue going through the stuff that we need to download. And then what I'll do is I'll pause the video and let it finish downloading. And then I'll come back once it has finished, because we don't want to spend too much time just watching a file download. That's, the digital equivalent of watching paint dry. I personally don't like watching paint dry. So let's go ahead and move on to the next thing that we're going to need to download, which is going to be an application to create a bootable USB called Rufus. It's a phenomenal program. I really wish they had this application for Linux and macOS, because it just makes life so much easier when it comes to this stuff. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna scroll down. Just down here's all these. Just ignore these ads and stuff like that. All right, so the one that we're going to do here is going to be, I usually just download the portable one so that it doesn't need to be installed or anything like that. It's pretty easy to work with. So let's go ahead and download this one right here. We don't need that. We're going to click out of that. And there we go. And then what you'll do is you'll go ahead and let it finish downloading. It should take just a second here. There we go. You'll just open it up. You'll need to run this as an administrator, so make sure you have administrator privileges on the device that you're working on. We don't want to check for any updates. Perfect, and there we go. So let's see here. I think we've probably got we've got a little bit of time for it to finish downloading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here, let it finish downloading, and then I will come back once it is finished. All right, so we are back. It has finished downloading, and we are ready to continue with the video. If you haven't discovered already, we are going to be creating a Windows 11 bootable USB. And the method that we're going to be using today is we're basically going to be treating this as if it were a actual physical computer the same way, where we would, flash the Windows ISO onto a USB and then go ahead and plug it in and download. That way we're going to be doing the same thing, but to a virtual machine. And the reason this is going to work is because with Rufus, one of the great tools with Rufus is it has some tools that are built in that will allow us to get around these requirements for Windows 11, which is phenomenal. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and we've got to make sure that we have our correct device selected, which in this particular case is only the 32 gigabyte USB drive. You'll need a minimum of an 8 gigabyte one. All the ones I have, with the exception of one, are 32 gigabytes, so that's the ones that I use. What you'll do is you'll go ahead and make sure that's selected here. You'll go ahead and come over here and hit select, and then select your Windows ISO. You'll hit open. I've already done that, and then that's pretty much it. Yep. Let's see here. Yep. And then what you'll do is you'll go ahead and hit start. And now what it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and pull these up. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and we're going to remove the requirements for 4 gigabytes of RAM, secure boot, and TPM. Remove requirement for an online Microsoft account. We're going to go ahead and create a local user account. These top two are going to be the ones that you definitely want to select, especially that first one, unless you want to sign in with your Windows account. I don't want to do that. Set regional options the same as the users. Yep, that'll make it easier. Disable data collection, disable BitLocker, disk encryption, because I don't care about any of that. If any of those tickle your fancy, go ahead and leave them unselected, but I am not going to. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and hit OK, and then it's going to go ahead and give us a warning that everything will be deleted. And I'm going to hit OK because I am good with that. And this is going to take a little while, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video again, and we'll be back once this has completed. All right, now it is done. So we are good to go here. So now what you would do is, if this were you and you were using a physical Windows machine, is you would unplug it and go plug it into your Linux server. This Windows instance is actually a virtual machine on the same server that I will be installing it on. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm actually going to have to eject that device so that I can go ahead and plug it in to the virtual machine. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Let me go ahead and get over to my home server. Let's make sure I'm on the right one. Okay, perfect. This is going to be a free command. This is the one that you'll have to do unless you're doing the same thing. So we're going to do sudo, we're going to do virt xml, and then we're going to go ahead and do Windows 11. We're going to do tac remove tac device. We're going to do tac update, and then we're going to go ahead and do host dev, and it's going to be, for this particular case, it's going to be 003.005. All right, so basically what this is doing is it's going to go ahead and update the virtual machine configuration file for Windows 11. It's going to remove a device. It's going to do is going to do it while it is running, and it's going to remove this particular device from the host system. Hi, Tessie. Sorry, my cat's saying hi down here. Hi, Dizzy's. She probably wants to go back outside, but she's gonna have to wait till the video's done. So, all right, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna put in my password here. I might have typed it in wrong. Oops, I did. Host dev. Oops. And we got to put a tac in front of the host dev. Completely forgot about that. There we go. And there we go. It has been uninstalled, unattached successfully. So, and even if you went over here to the, let's just go into Rufus, you see, oh, nothing here. So yeah, this one's done. So I'm going to go ahead and here I'm going to shut this one down because I don't have any need for it anymore. All right, perfect. So now let's go ahead and get into installing the virtual machine. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to actually create the virtual machine. So we're going to use our old friend sudo virt install. And what I'm going to go ahead and do here is virt install. I'm going to go ahead and actually, I'm just going to, I already have the command for it. So come down here, over here, I'm just going to paste that in here. So let's go ahead and talk about this. So we're going to use our old friend virt install. We're going to give it the name of Windows 11 TAC2, just because I already have one called Windows 11. This is just going to be the second one. I'm actually going to keep this one as a second virtual machine because eventually I do plan on doing some content around Windows Server. So that will be one of the machines that I'll use so I can go ahead and, create my domain and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm going to be using. What I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to create a disk. And all I'm going to do is create a disk with the size of 50, because that's going to be 50 gigabytes. I don't need anything more. I think they recommend 48 gigs is what Windows 11 requirements are. I'm just going to do 50. That should be more than enough for my needs. And then the next thing that we're going to do is tac boot equals UEFI. And this is going to give us, BIOS, UEFI, or I shouldn't say BIOS, but UEFI support. Because what we're going to need to do is once we actually attach that USB to our virtual machine, is we're going to have to go into the BIOS and select it from the boot menu. So we'll do that. And the next one is going to be graphics. Now, graphics will depend on what your preference is. Because it's easier and I run all my stuff from a Mac and I don't really have any need for sound, I use VNC just because it's easier, and then I just tunnel it through SSH so that I get the encrypted traffic. The other options you can use is Spice, which works well with Linux systems and using VirtViewer and stuff like that. But I could install VirtViewer on my Mac, but I just don't like messing with like Homebrew and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and leave stuff in its just basic configuration. This works best for me. So just go with whichever one works best for you. And of course, we're going to stipulate that this is the OS info, the type of system that we are installing, which is going to be Windows 10. It doesn't really matter if you use Windows 10 or 11. They don't, as far as the libraries and stuff like that, they haven't been updated to include one for Windows 11, but there's not really any difference. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to set vCPU cores to 4. This is going to be the number of threads that you want to associate with the virtual machine. I'm going to go ahead and give it four threads, and I'm going to go ahead and give it some memory of 8,192 megabytes. And remember, this one is it's technically in MB, but we're going to go ahead and put it in, megabytes. I think it's the one it is for this one. I always forget, but yeah, you'll do 8,192. That's going to equal up to 8 gigabytes. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to have to go ahead and attach those drivers that we downloaded. So that's what this one right here is. It's going to be disk, and we're going to create it. Here's the path to the disk on my system. And then we're going to go ahead and insert that into a CD-ROM. Now that is going to create an additional device, but I can actually show you how to remove that once we get everything installed. Because it's going to, basically what you're going to have 2 CD-ROM drives. I'm sorry, you'll have the hard drive for the virtual machine, and you'll also have the CD-ROM drive. So you can remove that, or you can leave it there if you ever want to attach anything else again. I have never actually attached anything after I've done a virtual machine, after I've installed it. So usually it just sits there doing nothing, and that doesn't really hurt anything. Then the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set tac install to, and then we're going to set that to no install equals yes, because all we want to do here is we just want to create the virtual machine. We don't need to start installing it yet because we have not connected the USB yet. So let's go ahead and run this command. Perfect, and there we go. Right, there we go, and it is actually already running, and we can actually see what this looks like if we were to do this. Let me just go ahead and come over here. Oops. Yeah, see, it is doing this here. So yeah, it is going to the BIOS, but what we're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to go ahead and exit out of this. We're going to go over here, we're going to do sudo virsh destroy Windows 11 tac2. Whoops, I didn't spell that right. We're going to go ahead and shut it down. What's going on here? Am I just not... Oh, it's because I'm not spelling it right. I am having all sorts of issues with my spelling today. Okay, cool. So we got it shut down. So the next thing that we need to go ahead and do is we need to go ahead and get that USB drive installed. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and run a command called ls USB. This is going to go ahead and let us see what USB devices are attached, and this one right here is the one that we're going to be doing. I actually have two of the exact same type of USB drive, and there's this one and this one. This one is a different one. This is the one that we're actually going to be we're going to be attaching. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to clear this out because I know that my face is covering some of it, so I apologize about that. But let's go ahead and do that. We're going to do sudo virt xml, and we're going to do Windows 11 tac2, and then we're going to go ahead and do Windows 2. So I'm just going to my notes here. Do tac add device. Then we're going to do tac update, and then we're going to go ahead and do tac host dev, and then we're going to do 003 and 005. All right, so, and this is going to be the bus device, and this one's going to be the device. This one's going to be the bus, this one's going to be the device. Let me show that to you again here. Oops. LS USB, which is these two right here, the bus and the device. This is how it's going to be identified on your system and actually be attached. And we're basically using that same command that we used before, and we are just adding a device to the virtual machine from the host machine, and it's the same one. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hit enter. All right, and yeah, so and I forgot that we don't need to put the tac update because it's not running. So we only need the tac update if it's running, but more of a force of habit to do it that way. So yeah, we've now actually got it installed. We've got it attached. So now what we need to do is we need to go do a sudo virsh start Windows 11 tac2. All right, perfect. And there it's going to go ahead and start. And let's go back over here. We're going to go ahead and pull back up our virtual machine, and there we go. So it's going to come to this screen right here where it's going to go into this this interactive shell. So what you're going to do is you're going to type exit, and that's going to take you to the BIOS. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to go ahead and come over here. Oops, why is it not going? You're going to use the arrow keys to come down here to boot manager, and then what you're going to do is you're going to go down to this device right here because this is our actual USB drive. We're going to go ahead and hit enter, and give it just a minute here. We should start seeing the little white circle thing. I forget what that's called. It always kind of reminds me of like when you would see those, like I don't know if you've ever seen like the Batman Returns, the one with the penguin. He has like the umbrella and he's going like that. I think it's that one. Is it that one or Batman? I don't remember, but it's one of those two. And they have the umbrella and they're just like spinning it. And they keep spinning it. And it's kind of what it reminds me of. So yeah, here we go. Yeah, we've got here into the install. The install process will pretty much work the same as if you were doing it on a desktop or anything like that. And I don't have a product key. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to let it install, and then once it has installed, let's let it do its thing. Okay, yep, we're good there. Let's come down here to this one. There's our drive. Next, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and let it install here, and then I'll come back once it is done. And we are into the operating system. So everything worked out just peachy. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down. Ugh. I should have just forced it shut down. Okay, there it goes. Okay. Because I did promise you that I would go ahead and show you how to remove that additional drive. Because if we run the sudo virsh dom block list, and then we do Windows 11 tac2, we can see here we've got that second drive right there. So what we can do is we can do a, let me clear this out. Let's do a sudo virt XML, and we're going to do Windows 11 tac2, and then we're going to go ahead and do remove device, and then we're going to go ahead and do tac disk target, and then we're going to go ahead and put SDB. Cannot spell once again. And there we go. Sudo virsh dom block list Windows 11 tac2, and it is now gone. And the reason we knew it was SDB was because when we looked at this previously, there was SDA and SDB. Apologies about going through that pretty quickly there, but that's why. So yeah, that is it there. So yeah, in my opinion, this is far easier way of installing Windows 11 in KVM. Check out the other videos in my Linux virtualization series. If you've caught up on those, check out this other video instead. Remember, mistakes make you better, so keep on making them. Thank you so much for watching my video, and have the greatest of days.